Jennifer got in Ron's Camaro, looking as slamming as two supermodels tied together. "What's going on, baby? Where are we going so late at night?" she asked. It was almost 3 in the morning. "Don't worry about it," Ron replied. "Put this on." Jennifer picked up the silk and lace blindfold he tossed in her lap and gave him a puzzled look. "Why? Where are we going?" she asked. "Just put it on. It's a surprise. You'll like it," he replied. Jennifer eyed the blindfold skeptically and then put it on. She told Ron she was going to be pissed if it messed up her eye makeup. Ron's Camaro did a sick peel out, and then they were off. Half an hour later, Jennifer was seated in a hard plastic chair. She could hear Ron fumbling around a short distance away. "Ron," she whined, "this is taking a long time. What are we doing? Where am I? I want to take this blindfold off." Ron yelled for her to wait, and she heard his voice echo slightly. "Where were they?" Seconds later, she felt his hand on her shoulder, firm and a rock as hell. "All right, baby," Ron said, and lifted the blindfold off, struggling to get it untangled from her bleach-sizzled nest of blonde hair. "Oh shit," Jennifer said. "We're in the mall." Ron worked as a security guard at the mall. That's how he had gotten them in after hours. Jennifer looked around. They were in the food court. In front of her were 4 tables, pushed together and covered with a red and white tablecloth. Surrounding those tables was a horseshoe-shaped ring of chairs. On each chair was a tray, covered in an assortment of offerings from one of the food court establishments. "Oh, Ron," Jennifer squealed in delight. Ron stepped to her wordlessly, pulling her in for a sensual makeout. His tongue thrust in and out of her mouth quickly as his hands ripped her white fashion bug blouse apart, exposing her big old titties. He reached down to her butt, grabbed it, and then hoisted her up onto the table. The soft pink wonder bra she was wearing made her boobs look awesome. Ron reached over to one of the nearby trays and returned with a glistening hot slice of Sbarro's pepperoni pizza. He reached behind her neck and grabbed a handful of damaged hair and then pulled back on it hard, causing her to stick out her ample chest. Ron folded the pizza over on itself, then ran its greasy tip across the top of Jennifer's cleavage, squeezing it slightly so it left a thin yellow trail of oil in its wake. Jennifer moaned in delight. Ron turned to face her, and their eyes connected, both lit up with a hungrous desire. "I love you, baby," Ron said. "I love you too," Jennifer replied. Ron slapped her hard in the face with a slice of pizza. When she turned her head back to face him, grinning like a naughty child, her cheek was coated in grease and marinara splatters. They made out savagely while Ron unhooked her bra, freeing her breasts, hot and slick with pizza grease. He snatched a McDonald's quarter pounder with cheese off a tray, unwrapped it, and then split the burger in 2 like he was untwisting an Oreo. A cheesy meat patty in each hand, he began to rub the hot burgers in slow circles over Jennifer's nipples and areolas, causing her to writhe with pleasure. "Yeah, you like that? You like those all-beef patties?" Ron said, while grinding the slippery burgers hard into her breasts. "Yes," Jennifer gasped. "Nibble on my nipples like they're nuggets." Ron peeled back the foil on a packet of McDonald's ranch dipping sauce. He squeezed the breast with one hand and then gently dipped its nipple in the creamy buttermilk goodness. Ranch dripped slowly off the nipple, sliding down towards Jennifer's belly in long white trails. Ron sensually sucked the ranch off her nipple, then nibbled, then chewed, then bit down just hard enough to cause her to shriek in delight. She pulled him up to face her. Between her teeth, she clenched a Chick-fil-A chicken strip. Its breaded all-white meat looked crisp and plump, protruding from her big, pouty, candy-red lips. Ron's lips pressed hard into hers, and then they both bit down simultaneously. chewing the chicken in tandem, their two mouths united as one. While they chewed, Jennifer reached down and unzipped Ron's jeans, then fished his dick out through the opening. It was stiffer than a stale French fry. She tore a Panda Express soy sauce packet. Panda Express soy sauce packet open with her teeth, and then emptied its contents along the length of his 6-inch dick. She wrapped her legs around his back and pulled him closer to her so she could stroke his soy sauce-coated cock, while he continued to knead the 2 8-pound burger patties into her breasts. Jennifer could feel how salty his dick was in her hand, and she knew she had to taste it. On her knees, she pursed her lips and ran Ron's dick all the way to the back of her throat in a single thrust, sucking the sauce off as she went. When she pulled it out of her mouth, gasping for breath, it had been licked completely clean. That wouldn't do it all. Jennifer grabbed the nacho cheese gordita and opened it up so it was flat like a personal pizza. She took Ron's cock and shoved it into the steamy mix of crisp, shredded lettuce, diced ripe tomatoes, seasoned ground beef, and warm nacho cheese sauce. Using the warm, pillowy flatbread as an artificial foreskin, she began to jerk Ron off. The fresh crunch of the lettuce, the gritty heat of the beef, the warm goo of the nacho cheese. It was almost too much for Ron to handle. Sensing that her man was getting a little too close to closing time, Jennifer tore open a packet of Taco Bell fire sauce and coated her index finger. She dropped the gordita, letting its contents spill out over the floor, and began licking the remaining chunks of lettuce and meat off his cock with her tongue. With his cheesy dick inside her mouth, she reached around back to Ron's drive-through window and slowly inserted her fire sauce-covered finger. Ron yelped, and Jennifer felt his dick swell in her mouth. Ron's anus burned with an intensity as fiery as his passion. Now it was his turn to get a bite to eat. He hoisted Jennifer back onto the table and pulled her miniskirt and soaked panties off in one fell swoop, burying his face in her Baja Chalupa. Ron licked and kissed like he was eating a McDonald's soft serve cone, even though Jennifer's pussy was warm and hot like a McDonald's apple pie. She was sweeter than Chick-fil-A Polynesian dipping sauce, and Ron gorged himself like he was eating a 10-piece nugget meal. He sucked her clit hard like he was trying to suck McFlurry through a straw, and made her come. Jennifer orgasmed like a wild beast. Now it was time for the main course. Ron laid out a Taco Bell Mexican pizza and then bent Jennifer over the table, her ass in the air and her face buried in the Taco Bell Mexican pizza. He pushed his dick against her opening and slid right in. She was so wet, he didn't even need a dipping sauce. Ron pulled his cock out, rubbed it against her clit, then slammed it into her heart again. It felt so good, Jennifer almost choked on her Taco Bell Mexican pizza. Ron fucked her from behind in long, smooth strokes, pumping her hard as Jennifer devoured the 2 crisp pizza shells, filled with seasoned ground beef, hearty beans, and then topped with pizza sauce. A blend of 3 real cheeses, cheddar, pepper jack, and mozzarella, melted to perfection and topped with diced ripe tomatoes. The sex felt amazing, but Ron knew it wouldn't be enough. Jennifer was a certified B-U-T-T-S-L-U-T, and so he knew she was going to need some backdoor action. Fortunately, he was only too happy to oblige. as he pounded away at her sweet, sweet pussy. Ron opened up some McDonald's honey mustard and grabbed a large fry. He would have preferred to use marinara and Sbarro's mozzarella sticks, but those were out of reach. Coating the fry in honey mustard, he gently inserted it into her tight, onion ring-shaped asshole. Jennifer lifted her head back and gasped, but Ron pushed her back down into the Mexican pizza, which was now splayed out sloppily across the table. Dipping each fry before insertion, Ron slowly filled Jennifer's ass with McDonald's signature crispy golden French fries. Before he knew it, there was a dozen in there. Jennifer's ass looked like a toothpick holder. Looking her harder than ever, Ron slowly started undoing his artwork. He plucked a honey mustard fry from her ass, then ate it. It was dirty, sexy, and delicious. Ron ate another ass fry, and another one, and another one, until all the ass fries were gone. He thought about repeating the process with Taco Bell cinnamon twists, but he was pretty close to coming, so he decided to bring this baby into the home stretch instead. Plugging away with a steady rhythm, Ron built himself up towards a supersized orgasm. Seconds away, he cried out to Jennifer, "Look at me, baby, I'm gonna come!" Jennifer looked back, her face covered in refried beans, pizza sauce, and seasoned ground beef. Their eyes met, and Ron unloaded into Jennifer's warm, hot pocket of a pussy. His cum was thick and creamy like an Oreo blizzard from Dairy Queen. If he had turned Jennifer over right then, the spoon would have stayed stuck. Jennifer and Ron collapsed on top of the table, their libidos exhausted and their bellies full of fast food goodness. Ron pulled Jennifer's sticky, greasy, naked body close to him and held her tight. "God damn, I love living in America," he said. Jennifer nodded and wondered to herself if there were any fries left.